Ish.
Ah, yes. It was in the year 1444 that the trouble truly began. Gone were the shattered states of old. From the duchies and bishoprics of Germany to the beyliks of Anatolia to the khanates of the Far East. All gone, rendered obsolete. And in their place, 44 superpowers. Each with their own strengths, their own weaknesses, and their own poorly written histories. And from this 44, there can only be one arbitrarily decided victor.
The quality. Unbelievable. Oh no, I wasn't ready at all. Oh god, oh god. Hello, welcome everybody. The year is 1486 and look at this actual wondrous political view that, that awaits you. Seamless, unbeatable, quality. Let me get some background music back on. And find out where on earth I put everything. There we go, hello. The year is 1486. 42 years 42 years we got through last time. Nowhere near that much now. Let me just bring back all of the controls. So, what do we have to look forward to this session? We've got a few current wars going on, and we're going to quickly click through them. Epiphany and their assorted alliance of French and Scots. That never happened in history. They are taking on the tolerant left. Epiphany's troops have landed in London. I think London has fallen. No, Kent has fallen. Kent, London, it's all the same to a northerner. What else have we got going? Incidentally, I missed pretty much everything in the chat over that video. So, you know, anyone has any questions now? Now is the time to send them, not, you know, 5 minutes ago. The Peyote Khanate have seen better days. The Celestial Entente, with their barely their mandate, looking for their tribute. Chigoris, the Hive are in. I think Glorious Nippon are in as well. It's a patchwork. We should see that sort itself out, because what we have this time, between this week and last week, we have a hotfix for EU4 that solves the issue, allegedly solves the issue, of never-ending AI wars. What else have we got? We have the silly situation in India, where the Tally-ho dominated and then killed themselves. The Punjabi prison and Gyan Lane are using it to their advantage to get back into things. Nadesh Shah already, you know, out there in front of India. What is going on with this hideously quiet music? Let's put on something else. Ah, yes, I like this one. I had more notes. I can't find what I've done with the notes. So what we're going to do is play on. So this is kind of the interesting part over here. We've got the tolerant left, no ally, Sheikh Andrew Grey, the only Sunni nation left in Europe after the demolition of Londonistan last time out. They've been at war with the New Nero Empire already, and indeed they're swarming over the New Nero Empire. But this is Epiphany's war, and Epiphany have landed in London. They've got 9,000 troops, and that is just enough to siege London. Meanwhile, over here we have... This isn't the Tally-ho that's at war, by the way. This is Kira. I didn't look up how to pronounce it in the meantime, and through some, not necessarily a glitch, but through weird Mayan religious mechanics, that's who they're at war with. So Punjabi prison looking to take a huge chunk of the Tally-ho's former lands. Tribute is, I feel, is a very all or nothing kind of player. Tally-ho, they were all, now they're nothing. The Tributeers, first in score after demolishing Batnarkia last time out, really utilising the Venice trade node, the richest country in the world. It's not looking good for the tolerant left. Well, you say that, but if they could knock out the New Nero Empire out of this war, which is very possible, because look, this is Lothian, this is their capital, it's only a level 1 fort, and they are most of the way through sieging it. What did Varmsund lose in the war? So Varmsund, they are out of one war, but perhaps straight into another. It was a war against communist Luxembourg, and I don't think Varmsund lost anything, because it was a war against Osterbotten, who you'll notice no longer exist. However, Varmsund are now directly into a war defending against Teshuvah, Kostani and Artolia. Not a great war to have, so that is Teshuvah. Oh, they were forced to give back. Oh, they were forced to give back a province to Aydin. And now they are just left with the province of Aydin itself, which is suspiciously landlocked. So that is Teshuvah going for this province down here, going for Djerba, I believe that province is. I just played an Aragon game myself, which involved taking over all this. I know all these provinces. So now we see Gorovdesh over here as well. Artolia doing something? Nah, not really. They're just being dragged in by their fellow Jewish ally of Teshuvah into a war. If anything, it's very good to see Teshuvah doing something, because Teshuvah, bordered by Hispania on the west, bordered by Nicosonia on the east. Although, in fact... Oh, in fact, Varmsund! I forgot Varmsund actually found some allies. So Nicosonia and Heilig Mulches in this war. So Heilig Mulches against Artolia. I think that's an inter-Jewish conflict there. Perhaps they were allies before? Yharnam? In a separate war? So Yharnam are crusading against Heilig Malches, and Yharnam have brought with them Kildare and the delegation. It's all kicking off. Heilig Malches is not going to be looking good for them. Oh dear. So that's what happens when you ally Varmsund. It's not looking good for Varmsund then. Varmsund only in there. How's the music going, by the way? Because I feel like I'm speaking quite loud to go over it, but I know that, you know, the volume levels are very arbitrary and different. There's the new Nero Empire getting booted out of Derby. So while the tolerant left is going down, New Neroland at minus 44%, they could end up being knocked out of this war. Again, here's the new Nero Empire. And they're getting beaten back. Once again, the superior artillery of the tolerant left. Garavdesh are in that fight as well, so they are fighting off. And 8.8 troops, 8,800 troops, I should say, are not enough to siege London. It's a level 3 fort. It needs 9,000 troops. Does Kildare have any allies? They do. They have Athens, they have Yharnam, and that's what they're joining in with. So Yharnam were pretty boring, but they've jumped early. They're allied with Switzerland, the delegation, Kildare and Kulm. Tver moving in on Novgorod as well. What we'll do over here, yeah, the Punjabi prison, we can see have taken a huge chunk of the former Tally Ho. And one has to think that Nadir Shah, perhaps? No, Nadir Shah are allied with the Tally Ho. Perhaps Kamenot, perhaps Gyan Lane. No, nobody else is really going for this big chunk of India, just completely up for grabs. Meanwhile, I think the Glorious Nippon have taken quite a chunk of the Paioti Khanate, but they're immediately embroiled in a war with Chagoris. It's all kicking off. India seems to calm down quite a bit. Jabariland, Slavers Bay, both at peace. So this is where the fight is happening. One of many fights. Tribute in on Batnarkia. Batnarkia with no allies. Tributaries with a whole lot. Batnarkia could be the second knocked out. We could see both animist nations of Europe knocked out in a single session here. So that is peace over here. And the tolerant left have indeed lost the war. And shockingly, Epiphany, they've taken Devon, but they've let the new Nero Empire take a foothold in Wales. They're pushing into Lancashire as well. So the new Nero Empire, they took a beating in that war, but it was to their benefit overall. Garavdesh taking nothing. Hell yes, says the noted leader of Nero land, Duke Gilpatrick Nero. So it's not looking that good for the Jews of Europe right now. This is Artolia losing against the Varmsund. Oh, hello. I've looked down here. Varmsund, powered by Nicholsonia, have taken over a good amount of the North African coastline, although Nicholsonia getting beaten back by Artolia. What are Artolia's troops doing down here? Who could actually say at this point? Now, this is the problem that anyone has against Varmsund, and that this is their capital up here. Now, unless you're Communist Luxembourg, unless you're Hansereich, you're going to really struggle to take out their capital. Draghi, you've not missed much, but what you have missed is that you are at war. Oh, hello! This is perhaps why they're struggling. Hispania are coming in and getting beaten back. Reinforcements coming in the form of Valencia for Hispania. And just in time, that was a battle that in the mountains of Hispania, Teshuvah were winning until Valencia came and bailed out Hispania. That's Achille Yuska desperately trying to appeal to the tributaries. Perhaps because they have animist land. No, they don't. They've converted it all already. Teshuvah have declared war on Varmsund for the province of Jerba. They've taken Jerba, but Hispania have taken their opportunity, and Teshuvah are now in a world of hurt. Because Hispania have brought in, they've brought in Valencia and they've brought in Garavdesh. So it's properly kicking off. Let's have a look at the diplomatic map. Teshuvah. We look over here at Yharnam, Heilig Mulches. There's a whole lot of war. Aporia doing pretty well for themselves, allied with Hansa Reich Tver. Tver could be a real major player going forward. While we look over there, we see the Peyote Khanate at peace, kind of at peace, but they are now a tributary state of the Celestial Entente. And it helps them level out their mandate just about. Insular Paragonea, also a tributary of the Celestial Entente. Need a couple more tributaries to really get that mandate going back up. India at peace. Africa pretty much at peace. So it's Europe where the action is. We're just kind of trying to stay zoomed out right now. Oh, Tver take over all of Novgorod, which is what it's looking like. Then Tver in the east. A major problem for Kildare. And they're getting some powerful allies. Lagofia are at war, defending against Yharnam. So Yharnam attacked Heilig Marches. They were allied with Lagofia. Now Lagofia they are actually a Prussian monarchy, and they have full militarization. They have at least over 90% militarization. So their troops are going to be hell to actually fight. But where are their troops at the moment? Who knows? Well, I see a defeated army across here. There's a 15k stack over here as well. Trying to defend their army, for their capital has fallen. Warsaw there, being sieged back. I'm having a lot of trouble just parsing which wars are which and what's going on. So I don't know how difficult it is for you guys at home. The Tributeers. First place in score, and they've just taken Roma. All the way down to Capitanata? I've always pronounced it as Capitana, but I know that's not correct. The city of Bari, that'll also be part of the Tributeers, because they are a serene republic, a merchant republic. They can create trade cities. The city of Bari is a trade city now. Goodness gracious me. It's all kicking off. Who's that? Sharazor in Nicosonia. Right, so Teshuvah are getting beaten down in the west. Indeed, I don't see any Teshuvan troops over here. I see Hispanians, I see Valencians, I see Garavis. So where are the Teshuvan armies? Here they are, they're sieging down Alexandria. I think as well they should. Their armies combined probably aren't going to beat this combined Catholic force in the west. But they may be able to beat Nicosonia at their own game, knock them out of that War of Varmsund, and ultimately win that War of Varmsund. Because, oh, here's Aydin on Varmsund. 3 wars now. 3 wars now for Varmsund, and one of them is against Batnarkia. Batnarkia against Varmsund is a one-on-one war, but there are so many wars that Varmsund are embroiled in that their allies have now just abandoned them. Batnarkia is jumping in. Aydin's jumping in. Aydin, again, a one-on-one war there. But to be fair, what are Aydin actually going to take from Varmsund? They're going to take their eponymous capital. They might take a few of these islands. The Nicosonia over there as well. Varmsund, with the help of Nicosonia, making their way towards Constantinople. Oh, that's not looking good for Lagofia either. That's too fast, too furious for me. New Near Empire consolidating, still allied with Epiphany. Epiphany not in this war. Garavdesh continuing on. Teshuvah was not looking good. But this is, again, is Hispania's war. Hispania and the Tributeers are the 2 major players. Not necessarily militarily, but certainly score-wise. And especially when you look at ideas, exploration and expansion for Hispania. I don't think anyone else has such a potent range of ideas yet. Artolia. Here's where the Varmsund army is. Trying to knock out Artolia. Artolia are in 2 wars at once. Attacking against Varmsund and helping defend against Teshuvah. That's both wars they've been dragged into due to Teshuvah. Have Aporia gained anything? Kind of. They lost 2 provinces down here, but gained Linz and gained these two very ugly provinces over here. Kildare still in war. Nobody really touching them. What's up with communist Luxembourg nowadays? Not a whole lot. They've got plenty of allies. No real targets as of yet, because Tver to... Oh, what is this? Glorious Nippon have made their way over the steppes through Siberia to take on Chigoris once more. But Chigoris absolutely winning that fight. That is because Chigoris wants this province here, and they've kept it. See Hanseong escaping here. Nanyang, Jiaozhou. We started with none of these states. They've all revolted away from the Japanese checkerboard. The Japanese checkerboard which now barely contain... I think... Wei-Lumbia just about holding on to a couple. Oh, the Weeaboo reconquest of Pyongyang. So the checkerboard mostly being kicked out of China, getting kicked out of Korea, and then Glorious Nippon and Wei-Lumbia kind of dividing Paragonea between them. But Paragonea now, of course, a tributary, which means that declaring one Paragonea provokes the wrath of the Celestial Entente. The Celestial Entente doing pretty well for themselves, apart from the entire lack of mandate. India at some kind of relative peace. Australia major, not really getting into this war. Wars throughout the Malayan Peninsula. Monorohan, the annoying looking rectangle thing, sitting pretty despite its allies. Oh, Gyanlane, I remember that. Legofia have been knocked out of this war. And in fact, Yarnum, I think, is peace all around. So what have Yarnum taken? Oh, Jesus. I thought they looked a bit different. They certainly are. By God. They've taken what? Let's get rid of this view. They've taken 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's Poznan's 17 development. Vratislav, as it's now called, 13 development. Sierad's 18. That is a major, major loss for Heilig Malchus. And a massive gain for Yarnum. Who are Yarnum allied to? Kildare, the delegation, Switzerland. Did Kildare take anything there? No, Kildare doesn't look like it. Although Kildare... Oh no, they lost that to Aporia. And then did they take this from Legofia? I think they did. They got 4 development out of this war, but that's 4 development more than they had in the past. Oh, Teshuvah. It's not looking good. And it's not looking good for Varmsund either. Varmsund's still in their 3 wars. The main one they're losing is to Aydin, which they haven't a hope of winning. But they might not lose much from that war. Because to win this war against Aydin, Varmsund needs to defend that province. And I think we can agree, that's not happening. But Varmsund, with that that's a very impressive navy. They're going to be able to defend Shaolin pretty much all day with that navy. But where's their army? They've got 1,000 troops at home. Who knows where the rest are? Destroy Catholicism rings out a voice in the chat. It's not going well so far. So we should be on the lookout, I suppose, for Hispania landing in the New World. But that was one of the prediction questions. And these guys are the only ones that have taken exploration ideas. They now have quests for the New World. At 1500, they'll be the only ones really eligible to spawn colonialism as well. Batnark separatists are rising up in Siena, looking to take back Roma. Oh, Athens are in on Varmsund as well. Were they always in? Is this a different war? Varmsund lost one of their wars? But they want... Did they always have Corfu? I think they did. So this is the Athenian conquest of Rhodes. So that is Rhodes down there. It's already been taken. Varmsund's navy could come and pretty much smash every single navy here. Even the tributaries. I bet that's just a trade fleet as well. That's not even a trade fleet, that's a transport fleet. They're losing Sicily to Batnarchia. Nicosonia out of war. And they haven't re-signed with Varmsund. It's not going well. Yeah, so Teshuvah, what was that war even for? Because Varmsund haven't actually lost any of their cores yet. They almost certainly will. What is that down there? Is that... We don't know if Valencia just crushed whoever it was. Teshuvah will be safe on the Canaries. Thailand... Oh, yes, of course it was. Djerba has been lost. It was only free development anyway, but it can be quite a useful fort. It's a coastal desert. I think it means they take more attrition. Who knows? But anyway, useful fort to have. Of course, will Teshuvah actually have it for very long now that Hispania are on the case? Who knows? Is that nearly a full occupation there? I think it is. We're just waiting on Hispania to finish off Artolia and Costanie. And here's the Teshuvah troops up here as well. A siege back. A siege for Artolia. It's calmed down a bit after that furious beginning. Nothing much happening of worth in India. It's all settled. I expected India to be a bit more... I expected India to be a bit more like Europe. Now, this is just all kicking off. Lumbia are now being beaten back in their reconquest of Pingyang. Chigoris have successfully taken that land from glorious Nippon. They're going from strength to relative strength. Teshuvah now exiled because, oh no. Oh no. So what have they actually taken here? Hey, to be fair, that's an alright border. Why have they taken this? Why have they taken Saura when they could have taken Tafilalt, which is the gold center trade? That should have been their priority. But Hispania utterly running away with it. King Monio Revanche. I was checking to see if he was a perfectionist, because that's a nice border, that not so much. So perhaps it's time for our countries to start concentrating on colonial matters. Slave Spain? Nope, they're still on innovative. Jabariland, religious still. Is there anyone over here who might go for it? Chigoris. I really want Chigoris to take exploration ideas. It's very unlikely to happen though. The Yarnum consolidating the gains of Heilig Mulches. Heilig Mulches still with some decent allies, Costania, Tolia, Legofia. But they're not in a great position for themselves, are they? Tver are looking very well for themselves. I think communist Luxembourg need to start worrying about Tver. In fact, with Hansareich, Athens, Hispania, to be fair, Tver have some great allies of their own, and that's an orthodox ally for Aporia as well. That might help keep Aporia alive. Kildare doing well for themselves, given that they're the only mainland Norse. Still 3 wars there for Varmsund. They're allegedly not losing against Batnarkia. How is this? How is this working? No one controls Messina. Because that's Aydin who controls Messina. You know what? This is clearly genius play. Batnarkia want Messina, but they can't take it, so Varmsund technically aren't losing to Batnarkia. So Varmsund just need to not give in to Aydin, need to try and fight off Athens, and then they come round, concentrate on Batnarkia once they capitulate to Aydin, and then take all of Batnarkia. Easy! That's what I'd do. So that is Aquila Yuska. It's not looking good. The animists caught without allies. The tributaries trying desperately to keep them alive. As well they might with that much money to give away. But it's nothing. Garavdesh and Epiphany on this one. But that's a little bit of overkill. And Akilar Yuska on this, the 20th of January 1493, our second elimination in Europe, and Gorovdesh have cut off Epiphany from any further expansion to the south. Interesting. So where next for Epiphany? Because they're allied with Gorovdesh. They guaranteed Brittany. Although Brittany only now allied with Luxembourg, Epiphany need to be going after Brittany. And indeed, that's what's next for them. So Epiphany wants to take control of Brittany and Gorovdesh. That's a fearsome alliance, to say the very least. The AI doesn't really like sailing from the Baltic to the Med, and part of this is because of how the AI works. This is a relatively recent change in that, and it's one that kind of screws over the concept of Varmsund, one that I didn't really consider when I suggested how Varmsund would work. How have Athens taken Oso? But anyway, how the AI works is to deal with naval attrition, or to rather simulate naval attrition, because they don't take it. That this is the Varmsund home fleet here. It will be kept to that area, and it won't go beyond it. Varmsund may create more fleets, which it will send out to anywhere, but otherwise Varmsund are going to struggle to do anything but defend their capital. You can kind of see how that would work, because Gorovdesh, for example, their capital is Provence. So their home fleet would be just stay in the Mediterranean. And that works for them. Hispania, likewise, Sevilla, their home fleet would stay around here. That works well for home defense. For a country that you've used a mod to make really ridiculously just stupid, the AI doesn't really work for them. But I can't really blame the programmers at Paradox for that. I think that's fair enough. Tributiers. In 2 wars, for Genoa are attacking Novara. There's a Genoa allied with the Tributiers, just trying to mop up some of these miners so the Tributiers can come in and swallow them. It's looking really, really good for the Tributiers. Now, if they could move away from being a merchant republic, they would be the #1 power right now. As it is, it's going to be Hispania. Especially with exploration and expansion ideas. And that colonial range as well. 30% colonial range. They get explorers up, they will just dominate New World colonization. They'll send all the trades back to Sevilla. Because look at this. Where does Sevilla get trade from? It gets from the Caribbean, Safi, Tunis, and the Ivory Coast. So it's taking a huge chunk into Safi. Make their way down to the Ivory Coast. Although I suppose, when it comes to the Ivory Coast, the Slavers Bay might have something to say about that. Solars, you've not missed much about riding the car. The new headmaster of Heidelberg University, Adolf von Haldenschleben, did assist the Tributiers in their war against Batnarchia, but didn't take anything for themselves because they couldn't. Cagliari. What's going on with these guys? Who are they allied to, and why are they not dead yet? Steiermark, Luxembourg, Stolp, Straubing. I suppose they're all states of the Holy Roman Empire. Although, Switzerland are the emperor, and what is Switzerland going to do? Send in 9,000 very well-trained troops, and potentially bring in Yarnum, to be fair. Yarnum did just have a massive expansion. So we've not been keeping up with Achaemenia at all, not really been keeping up with Mother Base. They're kind of betwixt in between here. They're not really around any more human players. Now, Punjabi Prism have attacked Xinjiang. No, they haven't. The Hive have attacked Xinjiang. And that's brought in... Alright, how are Mahasudar at war? Because the Hive are against going for Wuchang. Which one's Wuchang? Oh, for goodness sake. I'm far more fluent with this when I play in single player. So they are attacking Xinjiang. But why are Mahasudar in it then? Were they actually allied? Or did I just mess that up? They have a wide range of allies, but they're getting picked apart. The Hive doing very well for themselves then, if they can pick out wars with their rivals with such ease. How was Australia major? I only said Australia minor, which would be a desperate insult. Maharaja Stephen Irwin still going strong at the age of 70. If only. How are we doing over here? The Tributaries taking on Pisa. I think that's just part of this war over here. So, if the Tributaries were to take Lucca and Pisa, though, we have a quick look at the coalition map mode. You can see that Batanarchia really hate them, because they've been attacking animists. Pisa hate them, but if they were to take all this land, I think they would end up annoying Garavdesh quite a bit. Any coalitions for anyone else? I very much doubt it. How is Hispania doing? See, Hispania took out Teshuva. And that, it annoyed some of the other Jewish nations, but there's enough distance between Hispania and Teshuva and the other Jewish nations that they weren't really too annoyed by it. And this is kind of the problem with aggressive expansion when you have such an array of religions. So Varmson still in 3 separate wars. And that might be because they've pieced out of one war and then the new Nero Empire strolling in trying to take the Isle of Man. And Hansa Reich looking jealously at Copenhagen and the Danish islands, and that truce runs out in 6 years. Not looking great for Varmsund, I'll be completely honest. So they are now losing to Batanarchia because they got pieced out of that war of Aiden. They lost whatever this island was, Sakis. They lost Aiden itself. And that has allowed Batanarchia to jump in, take Sicily. Athens want Rhodes. They're probably going to get Rhodes. Somehow they've not taken Crete yet, though. Did Varmsund have Cyprus? They most certainly did. So that's gone to Aiden as well. Epiphany are involved in this one, so you might see a French army marching up to Copenhagen. New Nero Empire just about managing to take the Isle of Man while it's completely undefended. Just keep glancing out, looking for landfall over here. So Nicosonia with no expansions of their own. Allied with Athens, allied with Achaemenia. There's plenty of opportunity there. They should be smashing Al-Waj before Mother Base do. They should be going for Al-Wahat, who are now no longer a daimyo of glorious Nippon. So that situation solved itself. So Mahasada absolutely losing this war, but how much will they actually lose, given that they are not the target of this conquest war? Incidentally, I didn't realize this until I did the intro video. I didn't realize that Shambhala actually took a big chunk of Mahasada. If we look at Mahasada, because they kept it to really nice borders, so nobody actually noticed that that's a huge chunk now for Shambhala. And Shambhala now doing really well for themselves. Allied with Gyan Lane, Kamenot, and Kosh in there, of course. So that's why Nade Shah, who have just seen their main ally cut themselves more in half. And they're allied with Mahasada as well, so that kind of tripartite alliance looking notably the worse for wear, and Gyan Lane now doing pretty well for themselves. Punjabi prison. Allied with Kamenot, allied, yeah. This kind of three-way alliance is now coming into instead of the two ways. And that makes things very dangerous for any aggressors in India, which is why we're not seeing much war. Yadam. What are you doing? Yharnam have attacked Aporia, and they've brought in the delegation in Kildare with them. Aporia defended by Hansareich and Tver. Tver in this. Good to see. So let's see what that looks like on the map itself. And that's a pretty even war, honestly. The rich lands of the Low Countries make up for the hugeness of Tver. That's a pretty even war. What Aporia need to do, Aporia have some great forts. They need to make sure they don't fall. Bex is not a good fort to defend on the farmlands, but Trenson, the mountain fort, they shouldn't let it fall. They need to get their whole army, smash it into one of these armies. Where are their armies? Where is the Aporian army? What are the tributaries doing? Why are the tributaries? Why do they have such a big army up in Hamburg? So they're not at war with Hansareich. Epiphany creeping ever closer to Varmsund as well. You can see they'd love to cross this channel, but that navy's just going to sit there and nothing is going to oust it. The tributaries did actually take Pisa there. Much to the disdain of many around them. Particularly Garavdesh. But that's a mini coalition that could go up against the tributaries now. At the moment, they're powerful enough to swallow any coalition of minor countries. But say Garavdesh get involved. The tributaries are in massive trouble. So the forts are falling on Aporia, given the focus from Yharnam, the focus from the delegation. Kildare probably helping out as well. So what is this? This is a Yarnish purge of Aporian heresy, which is very bad news for Aporia. That means Yharnam can take whatever they want. Yharnam, very boring last time out. They just bided their time. They completed religious ideas. Now they're getting quantity ideas. And now they're using their religious ideas of Deus Vult. There's a Von Kamichi on the throne. You know what? I've changed my mind. Yharnam, I hope they smash it. So this is what can happen with theocracies. It's not a set dynasty name. As you can see, the heir is Peter Nostitz. But Isavor von Kamichi, the militarist in charge of Yharnam, clearly descended from the von Kamichis of Hansareich. He did a good job. I think if Yharnam end up winning this dev clash, this campaign, it's not a dev clash. For goodness, I really hope it's not a dev clash. If a dev clash looked like this, I would not be watching it. So the tributaries have finished their war. Genoa now twice as rich in provinces. Navarra 19. Yeah, nearly doubled it. He said, not bothering to do the maths. Hansareich getting embroiled in a bit of a barney here. Their reinforcements came in, but not quickly enough, and now they're going to get smashed. That 3.5k, which should have been 7k, they should have all arrived together, then they'd have beat down Yharnam. And now Yharnam sieging down Berlin. Hansareich, many enemies. Oh, incidentally, I'll show you this. It might have changed in the meantime. Look at that for Mahasada. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 enemies. And they still managed to find some decent allies. That's why they're getting beaten down like this. Because everybody hates King Noam Manpreet. 7 enemies. Spectacular. Punjabi prison, though, getting beaten back. Because they're trash. They're only against Xianyang and Mahasadar. There's 3 player countries on the other side. And Punjabi prison still managing to lose. Nadesh Shah getting beaten down. You say you've missed that? That's because I've missed it as well. Gyan Lane taking on Nadesh Shah and the Tally Ho. Is that a reconquest? It's the Gyan Reconquest, because Nadir Shah took land earlier on. So they want these provinces back, and these are very good provinces if I remember correctly. 15 development Silk. Silk, excellent. 19 development Silk. Very expensive provinces they want back. And Gyan Lane have brought in Shambhala. They've brought in Monorohan, and they've brought in Caminot. This piracy will not stand, and Gyan Lane have put together the coalition to end the River Lions, the River Tigers. I think it's River Lions, but then Shere Khan is the tiger in Jungle Book, so who knows. Aporia, we cut back in, and it's not looking great. Hunterreich are actually sieging down a decent fort there. Tver still in this war as well. So they've kind of distracted that. They've distracted the delegation. They've distracted Kildare. And they've not really made progress. So that little sound you heard in the background was a new Holy Roman Emperor, and it is now Mathieu von Swiss. The Elector of Pisa is backing Gorovdesh for the throne. I'd rather you didn't. Athenian separatists. Why are there Athenian separatists on Cyprus? Shouldn't it be Varm separatists? Varmsund have lost the entirety of Sicily. They're keeping hold of other things. Are they out of war? No, not quite. The New Nera Empire really struggling to take the Isle of Man. Or rather, they've occupied it, but they don't have enough war score to take it. They lost Crete as well to Athens. Fair days. This is why I don't bother looking at stuff. Because I know everyone else is just going to pick me up on what I miss. What ideas? Exploration for Gorovdesh. Good to see. Good to see that Hispania won't be completely unchallenged. Offensive ideas for Epiphany. Because here's the thing with Hispania. They have a very good base position. They go colonize, they'll be very rich. But say Epiphany had really good quality troops through their ideas, then they would probably get beaten in a war at home. Especially with exploration and expansion, which give no combat benefits whatsoever. Yharnam getting beaten back a bit, though they maintain their stranglehold on Aporia's capital, and they have the important forts to give them access back in. And indeed, now that this fort has fallen to Kildare as well, Kildare and the delegation in Yharnam pretty much have a route all the way through to support each other in this war. That's why the delegation are now up here in Tver. Incidentally, I think if Tver do well, and you know, maybe Varmsund or Caminot get knocked out somehow, then you know those letters look familiar. A huge peasant uprising? Oh no. And the peasant uprising did not help at all. So that is another huge chunk that Yharnam have taken out of a competitor. And of course they're Czech, so they change all their names. Presporok. And these are good oh no, they've taken the gold. Yharnam on the move. What does their coalition map mode look like? Nobody cares because they took it away from the Jewish Heilig Malches and the Orthodox Aporia. Nobody cares. That's actually such an impressive move to make. Just all of a sudden, Yharnam on the map in a big way. Meanwhile, the New Nera Empire struggle on. Have they occupied anything else? No, they've literally only occupied Man. They're not even doing any blockades. There's been a very... I was going to say a poor start to the session, but we are nearly halfway through the session. What is this? Is this tribute really losing to rebels? No, not quite. Very nearly, but not quite. Did he ever have Romagna? Romagna? No, Romagna was always there. It just looks very ugly. They need to be taking out Romagna next. Allied with Genoa. Oh, they're in Tributes Trade League. That makes all the sense we need. Quieting down a bit now. Mahasada out of this war. And they've lost that huge chunk of land, which actually has pretty much nothing in it. Oh, they've lost quite a bit over here as well. There's probably more development over here. No, that's 10 development. 11 development over here, though. So I was nearly right. But that means it's a lot uglier. Because they've lost the Himalayas here. No, that's not the Himalayas, is it? That is Kunlun, and then the Himalayas are... there's Himalaya. Nicely still coloured in. Nadir Shah lost a bunch. They've not lost that much. Well, clearly they've lost a lot. But, for example, that's what Gyanlane have actually taken beyond what they started with. And you know what? Maybe Nadir Shah shouldn't have tried to beat up on the humanist, innovative, peaceful Republic of Gyanlane. That's what you get, said the unbiased commentator. So Kaminot benefited very well from this. Bijapur, I think some of this is actual farmland as well. Good, like dryland, cotton, grain, gems. Oh, they've got Golconda. Golconda is an excellent province. It produces very expensive gems, and it produces lots of them. The whole idea behind Nadir Shah is that they took the diamond mine of Golconda and used its wealth to dominate the eastern rivers of India. And now what are they? They don't have the diamonds. They still have the rivers, but they're barely even lions. What's even the point of them? At least Kaminot doing well for themselves under King Marcos Trevor. So it was really a rush of war at the start there, and we seem to have calmed all the way down. Truce is over, though, for the tolerant left. And speaking of over, so too is the 15th century. And I actually remembered this time to make a save game. What's the format? There we go. I say I remembered, I looked up and saw it was late December and panicked. So, 1st of January 1500. Did he just casually pause it exactly? Of course I did. It's an easy game. What we're going to do, we're going to jump into Hispania while we're paused so we're not breaking any AI routines. Because what I want to show you is the next institution. Colonialism can spawn. It's not spawned just yet, but it can spawn. Hello? And we have our first colony in the New World as well. Oh, no, we don't. How have they started in St. Helena, of all places? But that is our first real, proper New World colony in the year 1500. So if you have 1500 on the predictions, somebody will have to remind me of that at some point. It was Hispania what done it. And the institution hasn't spawned yet, but as we mouse over, they have to have unlocked exploration ideas, they have to have a specific kind of province, and they have to have discovered the New World. And that all only applies to Hispania as it stands right now. So it's all but given that colonialism will spawn in Hispania. Well, while we're here, this is the spread of the Renaissance. I think Punjabi Prison might have developed it. No? Because they've gotten Renaissance. They've got an island of the Renaissance here. What's happened here? How have they gotten the Renaissance in here? Lahore's the only one with enough development to have actually developed it. But here's the thing, once an institution gets to this point in India, oh no, they might have shared it. And they're sharing their knowledge with the Hive. So someone shared, I think Akamenia shared knowledge with Punjabi Prison. Now, Punjabi Prison are sharing their knowledge with the Hive. And you can see the Renaissance coming in round here now, the capital area of the Hive. And Chigoris as well, knowledge shared by Akamenia. So the Renaissance spreading far quicker than it usually would. But what I'll say as well is that Gyan Lane have been built specifically to spread institutions very quickly. They haven't got their ideas up yet, but they will. I think it's something like 10% of your income per month, so it's very expensive, and it only really spreads it in the capital region. But say in a multiplayer game you really wanted to game it, and you were one of the Japanese nations, you get two guys, you get exploration ideas, you meet in the middle, and then suddenly you've got Portugal sharing with Japan. This war continues. And as you can see, Epiphany's army, just sitting here. There's no way they can get past that brick of a navy in the Oresund. How's Japan doing? It's doing... Oh, what's going on? The glorious Nippon are taking on Paragonea. The Celestial Entente did come to their aid. So you can kind of see Glorious Nippon's mainland provinces going down, but Paragonea's capital is presumably still... Why is it Okinawa? Why is their capital Okinawa? Actually, why is it Okinawa? So they're not even going to take the capital. What kind of a war is it? It's a conquest of Yamato, and the attacker controls it. Good. Thank God. Shogun Yoshiharu Goku. Somehow a more Japanese name than Naruto Goku. Probably because it's an actual name. So nothing much going on in India. Certainly nothing much going on in Australia Major. Steve Irwin, I'm afraid, has finally croaked. And Narai Irwin next up for the English monarchy of Australia Major. Yeah, so the Celestial Entente, they get mandate by making tributaries of those states they border. But now they border Chigoris, now they border the Hive, they're never going to have mandate ever again. Oh no! I've just realised what they've done over here, and that's not... It's not big and it's not clever. How would you pronounce that? Lvov? Lvov? Because you pronounce your W's as V's and what have you. I'm not even going to try it again. But in any case, Aporia have an enclave within Kildare, having lost their border provinces. Who's this down here coming out of Al Wahat? Mother Base were in a war. So Mother Base were in a war. They don't look to have taken any territory. Jabaraland, I was about to say it looks like they've slowed down, but that is not the case. Jabaraland's taking on the rest of Congo. And here's the interesting thing as well. That these countries down here are so big that they can't afford to make these full cores. The difference between a full core and a territorial core, I'll quickly show you. A full core in here. Well, a full core that's not part of an estate, or... Have they made any full cores, right? So, autonomy is 0.4%. That means there's a 0.4% reduction in the money they get from it. But over here, the minimum autonomy is 75%, which means minus 75% for all the money coming in over here. So they're barely making anything from all this land right now. If we go back to states and territories. There we go. So the green is what they're making the most out of, the yellow is what they're not. You can see countries up here, we'll look at Epiphany. It's nearly all green. It's kind of how it works. I know if you've played EU4, you know all about this. Yarnum I'm interested in. Yeah, Yarnum can get it all stated. Not quite stating Slovakia yet. But they really should. Although they haven't finished the coring yet. You need to finish coring, making a core out of the provinces before you can make it into a state. And then they'll be getting the full value out of that gold mine. Any expansion for the delegation? Exploration ideas for the delegation? Nice to see. Valentin de Friesland. Anything for Artolia? Espionage ideas? That's not what I like to see. The new Nero Empire have landed in the Baltics. This war is progressing at a glacial pace. I'm afraid I've got some bad news though. The Luxem conquest of Shaland. So that is Farmsund by themselves. Farmsund by themselves. Against Communist Luxembourg and Hansereich. Now, what we're about to see is going to be very interesting here. I think Warmsund could win this war. Not literally. They're not going to gain territory. But if we bring the combined navies of Communist Luxembourg and Hansereich to try and take on this navy of Warmsund, I think they'd lose. So I don't think they're going to take Shaland or Finn. So long as that navy stays where it is. And indeed, here's the thing. Look at this. They are winning this score. They have plus 10 war score because of the blockades around the Oresund and the defender control Shaland. Who is Venice's leader? Well, this is Venice. This is the Tributaries. And this is Serene Doge Nicola de Candia. Allied as they are with Rhein-Neckar, Athens and Genoa. That truce with Batnarkia is coming down very quickly. So Batnarkia need to look out. I will point out that for all the unintended things around Warmsund and all the weirdly designed countries, this was actually a deliberate feature of the design of Warmsund. That they're going to get trashed, but it's going to be very difficult to actually take their capital. You can kind of see the armies just kind of lying in wait. That Epiphany army has just been hanging out in Hamburg for so long. They're still at war here. Minus 25% war score because they've had Man, the Isle of Man, for so long. But here's the thing as well. Where are the communist armies, actually? They're just sitting here, not doing much, because they know there's nowhere for them to go. Has the Reformation happened? I don't believe so. It'll take a little while longer. What we'll do, actually, because that's quite the pertinent question, especially now that Catholicism is taking more of a hold within Europe, I'm going to jump into Zagreb. And then look at religion. And we can see that it's 67.9% reform desire. Once that reform desire gets to 90, it gets brought up by specific events. Defender of the Faith, the Tributaries, by the way. And while we're here, Hispania, the Papal Controller. The Tolerant left the Crusade target for another 13 years. Once that reform desire gets brought up to 90, that's when the Reformation can start happening. So Warmsund do have troops, but I'll point out that Kolding is a level 2 fort, Lund is a level 2 fort. They need 6,000 troops to actually successfully siege this, and they've only got 3,000 down here. That's a 1,000 troop over there. Just making a short trip over. So Tver expanding east as well. Rapor is still allied to them. They are. Hansereich and Tver, that's decent allies, in all honesty. Be a lot more decent if Hansereich could actually take control of the Holy Roman Empire. But Duke Gunther von Kamichi isn't as popular as perhaps he should be. Gorovdesh, really a good chance of taking this. How is that? The Imperial Authority is very nearly not going down. Despite the fact that it's just huge superpowers, not a bunch of tiny states. Let's have a look at the Imperial map mode. If Garavdesh or Epiphany were to become Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, they could add their own provinces for Imperial Authority. What's over in the New World? Because we see Hispan... Oh, goodness, right. Here's something. If Hispania... I'm just looking to see what kind of natives that Hispania could start beating up on. If so, they chose. And the first one they've landed beside is the one I can't pronounce. Which are the ones that hold all this land over here in India. So Hispania could technically take over all this land thanks to their colonial efforts. But while we're here, one of Mahasada's many enemies, specifically Shambhala and Gyan Lane are going in on them. What I'd like here, if Gyan Lane just takes that little strip of Nepal, Shambhala can have everything else, so long as the borders are neat. You can kind of see a line there, which would be quite neat. But this is all kind of jungle and highlands, I think. Oh no, we're really into highlands there, so they're fighting out of the jungle. Which is good. If they stayed in the jungle, it'd be extremely attritional. Like this Mahasadar army down here, they're going to lose so much manpower. Is that Australia, mate? Hello? An actual war for Maharaja Narai Irwin. He's not very good, skill-wise, but he's a militarist, and that's what we like to see. So they did come to the aid of their ally Mahasadar. Did Chigoris? Chigoris did as well. Ooh, Monorohan, what are they doing? Mother Base are at war. We've not seen this too often, but they've attacked Alawaj. They're at war with Alawaj, Majatin, and Birjan. Now, Majatin are actually a pretty beefy Ethiopian. Look at India, or am I behind? We were just looking at India. But this is the first war for Mother Base, pretty much. And they're going to take over all this. Nicholsonia need to get in on that. At a rate of knots. Now, I think there's no real danger of Gyan Lane losing this. But Shambhala, potentially in a two-front war if they get concentrated on. If I was Gyan Lane, and I have enough allies that I could just give up Shambhala, I'd consider it. I'd stick with Monorohan and Karanot. Try and nick a few of Nepal's provinces. And then leave Shambhala to die. That's what I'd do. I had an Aragon game where I was in against the Ottomans, allied with Austria. I just took Constantinople and let Austria die. That's the kind of player I am. Incidentally, on that note, we're trying to get an EU4 multiplayer game together. So if you want to be allied with me and backstabbed by me, I think it's pinned in the Discord. I think we've got polls going on trying to figure out what time would be best for everyone to play at. So definitely, if you're interested in that and you've not heard of these efforts to get a game going so far, speak up in the Discord. I think it's Owen Dew mostly who's trying to get that together. Oh, there's a landing on Okinawa. The Celestial Entente. How has this happened? They were your tributary. Right, what's happened here is Paragonea broke their tributary with Celestial Entente, the only thing that was keeping them alive, and Celestial Entente have said, you know what? That's really stupid of you. We're just going to declare war on you again, and now Paragonea are dying again. The Peyote Khanate, I think they've lost far more to Chigoris, and Chigoris looking quite neat border-wise, actually. I'm liking this Chigoris. Yes! There we go, boys. Exploration ideas for the Siberian Tengri Nahuatl. That's actually really good. So Tengri is a syncretic faith. There we go. Which means you can pair it with any other religion. They've paired it with Nahuatl, which means they're really good at raising stuff, which isn't actually that useful, but they get plus 5% morale, which is really good. Chagor is going well for themselves. Varmsund, like I said, up to plus 20% in this war. Now, they've lost Oso to Communist Luxembourg. They've lost the Isle of Man to the New Nero Empire. They're defending against Curonia, who are these guys here. They want Oso. But Communist Luxembourg have that. Meanwhile, this siege ongoing, it's been going on for quite some time. Is that... Yeah, that's the... It does actually say there, the minimum regiments you need. Surely they've got more than 6 troops, and they're just stranded somewhere. I'm almost tempted to go into Varmsund and find out. Oh, that's Teshuvah against Gorovdesh. Oh, and it's not good. Hispania are back. And they've brought with them Catalonia, Valencia and Gorovdesh. Now, Costania, Artoli and Teshuvah are in this war together again. But by now, Hispania and Gorovdesh might just be too powerful. Tech 9 for Gorovdesh, Tech 9 for Hispania, Tech 8 military for Teshuvah, 9 for Artolia, 8 for Costania. It's not great. Meanwhile, Sevilla is the birthplace of colonialism. So it's all coming up Hispania right now. And there's the Artolian army getting crushed by the French. Were they just wiped out? Oh, no. I suppose that's what administrative and espionage ideas give you. Not a whole lot, whereas Gorovdesh... I suppose they don't have much either. Gorovdesh are actually really behind on ideas. Perhaps due to King Alphonse Gaurav not being all that good. Does Teshuvah have any useful forts? Dara is a very useful fort. That's the one they need to defend, but I think it might already be long gone. Not quite. Looked almost like Rhein Neckar was in that war, and they're not in any wars right now, but I get your point. The Tributeers, their truce with Batnarchia, pretty much gone. Well, the Tributeers, they've taken trade, I'm certain. Trade and administrative. So they'll have amazing mercenaries. An amazing trade and not much else. It's good to see that they've given up here. On this siege of Lund. You don't need to siege Lund. You're winning the war anyway. Look at this, the 29k army of Hansareich. They're scared. Was that fleet moving? No, it just looks like that close up. I thought it looked like it was moving out, and it's like, you don't really want to do that. But look at that, on both sides of the Øresund Strait. Armies amassing to take on Varmsund. It's not happening, lads. Just a school trip, and just going, we shall not be moved. That's not actually how that tune goes, is it? Hello, Mother Base. Oh, hello, Mother Base. They are winning this war. It just doesn't look like it. How are they winning this war? Because their occupations don't matter. Of course, the capital of Mother Base is Aden, which is right down here. I think they'll be protected by... Not protected by, really, forts that matter. The fort at Muscat has fallen. Doesn't look great. Speaking of not looking great, Mahasada. Well, Mahasada are actually winning. Oh, Gyan Lane getting pushed back because Chagoris have arrived. Chagoris are smashing the hell out of Gyan Lane. While Nadeshah just sit back and go, You know what, lads? Maybe India was a mistake. Paragonay SA, you know what, lads? Maybe the whole breaking tributary with the most powerful country in our vicinity was a mistake. Hanseong even getting in occupations on the Japanese mainland there. Ryukyu Okinawa, occupied by the Celestial Entente. All the Entente want is tribute and maybe a little bit of land. Punjabi prison, they're not doing much. Mono Rohan at peace, well, certainly peaced out with someone. They've knocked someone out this war, have mother base. Probably Bajan. Did Punjabi prison just lose land? I don't think so. They have a truce with Taiyun with Mahasada. Who won that one? Was that... I can't tell who's who. Right, Mahasada. Australia in there as well. Right, here's the Australian armies. We'd like the Australian armies. They've got the best flag. Who stands to actually gain from this war the most, though? Shambhala certainly losing, but a lot of that is down to how they don't control Dahong, which is that they just need to seize Dahong back. It's not covered by a fort. They just need to send 1,000 troops to occupy Dahong, and there goes most of the enemy's war score. But they've got a bit more of a problem here in that they're completely outnumbered. And Gyan Lane are going down fast. Or are they? Massive battle here. Look at how good Chigoris' troops are, that they're nearly winning this. Good gracious, that was farmlands. And Chigoris. Cavalry to infantry ratio, cavalry combat ability. What Chigoris' army's like? Heavy on cavalry. Quite heavy on cavalry, to be fair. But Chigoris' armies have been sent packing. This is what Gyan Lane and Shambhala need to actually push back now. Anyway, what are the tech levels like? 8, 9, 8. Only 7 for Shambhala, and they started this war. No wonder they're losing. Even Australia, what are Shambhala doing starting a war against better, more technically advanced foes who already outnumber them? I don't get it. Like Mother Base, fighting back. Gonna take out Al-Waj. Costania, that's rebels. Hello. The new Nero Empire. Nero's crusade against the tolerant left. Hold on. Right, hold on. I just thought that's the kind of thing you need a screenshot of. Nero's crusade against the tolerant left. Although Nero has been sent packing. The tolerant left holding the ground. It's going to be far easier for Epiphany to cross the channel with, they already have Devon. But where's Nero's army? What is his army doing down there? What actually are his armies doing in Ireland? What's the point of that? The tolerant left. They have good morale. They've got good fort defense. They don't have much else. I don't see how they're fielding such a bigger army. I don't see this ending well for Epiphany. 30,000 against 7. The retreat for Epiphany. And the New Nero Empire have actually lost a force in Northumberland. Epiphany's main 20... There's no cavalry and barely any artillery in that stat. That's a trash army. Lads, where are the cannons? To be fair, it's still fairly early in the game. You don't want that many cannons. That's a decent army from Garavdesh. Speaking of Garavdesh, they're still at war with Teshuvah. And Artolia have been knocked out of that war. They are no longer defending. Speaking of getting knocked out of wars, Varmsund keeping on in both of these conflicts. This thing is, it's very much a momentum-based system you've got to go with as Varmsund. As soon as you get locked into a cycle of wars, when you're at war, you can't sign any new alliances. So you need to completely get out of war before you can get more allies. Batanarkia, their truce is up with nearly everyone, but they are now allied with Aporia. Aporia allied with Tver, Hanselreich, and Batanarkia. I'm not sure I like that alliance for Aporia. I mean, well played to Batanarkia for actually finding an ally. But still, when the Tributaries come knocking, the Tributaries at this point, they certainly have the finances to take on Batanarkia and Aporia at the same time, if they don't have the troop quality. But they don't just have the finances, they have allies. That's not a war that Aporia can really win. Legofia keeping on. Legendaric. Military skill of 6, that'll keep the militarization up. Mother Base have taken some land. What's Jabarland doing? Being beset by particularists, separatists down there. And they are this, is this the same war? This is the same war we saw earlier. You can tell because there's minus 25%. Look, they've not got any occupations in this war. They've just been beset by rebels, and that's what they've been concentrating on. But they've won so many battles that it doesn't matter. They can just keep this war going, turn around and take whatever land they want. Slavers Bay, they are at war as well, no? They have a truce with Ondo. Which one's Ondo? Oh, that's Ondo, the island. So Slavers Bay have really consolidated the entirety of the west of Africa now. Hispania nearly completing their colony. I say nearly, still nowhere near, really. Have we run out of music? I really doubt it. This playlist is like 9 hours long, and we've never heard most of it. Because my favourite songs are all at the start. I started a bit further in today, you might have noticed. So the Tolerant Left. Demolishing. Oh wow. Because this is a crusade, what matters is war score from battles, not occupations. And the New Nero Empire and Epiphany have lost every single battle. So they are getting destroyed. Look at this, the occupations, the blockades, not much, and then 42 war score from battles. That wasn't the Casus Belli to pick, in all honesty. Hello, Yharnam. They're back again. Guess who's back again? Well, I think this is Legofia, who have attacked Kildare. And they've brought with them Heilig Malches, they've brought with them Mono Rohan. That's a very good ally to bring with you. They've brought with them Tver. So that's Kildare. And Yharnam alone, is it? Kildare and Yharnam alone. So this is going to be a test for Yharnam. What they need to do, let's visualize this, because it's a tricky one for Kildare. Look at this. Oh no, Mono Rohan aren't in. That's still very tricky. What these two need to do, Yharnam and Kildare, I think as they are doing, they need to knock out Heilig Malches immediately. Then, because that's what Tver and Legofia have in strength, they can just concentrate on whatever they want on Kildare. They might be able to knock out Kildare before Yharnam and Kildare can knock out Heilig Malches. And certainly Legofia will probably be able to get their core back at the very least. What sort of a war is this? It's a conquest, not a reconquest. So they'll be looking for these yellow provinces here rather than that green province, although they'll get that green province back anyway. The Shuva continuing to go down. I'd be surprised if this whole western part of Morocco didn't entirely disappear. Indeed, that's nearly a full occupation up now. Just need to knock out Costagny, or make Costagny give up. No advance made on Costagny just yet. So peace in our time over here. I'm not sure what's happened here. So Mahassadar have gotten most of their cores back, is what's happened. We're back to the status quo. That's a failed offensive war for Shambhala. Australia Minor took nothing. Mahassadar get most of the cores back apart from one. Guyane Lane untouched. Paraguayan separatists in the Wayalumbia. They're gonna... Anyone around here would really struggle to shift like 44,000 separatists. Wayalumbia actually looking really good for themselves in the mainland. How's this happened? I thought Glorious Nippon were doing well. But Wayalumbia, the independent daimyo, now allied with the Hive, allied with Vietnam and Nanyang. As Glorious Nippon, no big allies at all. Naruto Goku, a weak claim, not a very militaristically inclined ruler. And admin ideas only. What have Wayalumbia got? Admin again. A shame. Celestial and Taunt looking to finish off the Peyote Khanate. At this point, they might as well. Is it for tribute or is it a conquest? It's a war for tribute, so they might not take all the land, but they might as well. Their mandate's already in the dirt. They did, of course, win that war for Paraguayan mandate. So Jabariland now out of that war of Kasai. I think that was white peace because the Sunny Zealots, Jabari Particularists, this is what they need to worry about. Batuan separatists down here. They could even just give in to the Particularists and it wouldn't be that harmful. The Sunny Zealots will be converting all their land to Sunni. It's the separatists they need to worry about. Slave has been no such worries with rebels right now. These rebels doing some quite good work for Teshuvah this time. Oh, here we go. The Tributeers at war with Batnakia. They brought in Genoa with them. It's just a mano-a-mano war. And Aporia did not defend them. Probably quite sensible. The Heilig Malches. The longer this war goes, the more in trouble they are. Because they're isolated over here. But if they're concentrating on Kildare and their allies are concentrating on Kildare, then Kildare are going to go down quite quickly. As you can see, it's quite even just now because of all the counter-occupations. So what's the war goal? Voronezh is going to be one of these. This is the frustrating thing. All we need to do, just take that province. Take that province and you win the war. Meanwhile, speaking of winning wars, oh no. Oh, for goodness sake. How has this happened? Not only have they not made progress, they have substantially lost out. Have the new Nero Empire. They've lost 1, 2, 3 core provinces. They've lost the Isle of Man. And here's the thing, Epiphany didn't even lose Devon. That would be my #1 target if I'm the tolerant left. Take out Devon, take away Epiphany's base in the United Kingdom. But no. Useless. What is this? Cagliari going at it. The Tributeers may have united Italy like 200 years early. Costagny defending against Aydin? Aydin going for it. Meanwhile, Teshuvah... What is this? Why wouldn't you take all of this? Come on now, that's... what is that 10k army doing over there? But Hispania... They've got the ball rolling now. Snowballing out of control. Nothing much of a note in India. The Peyote Khanate. Some occupations in the hive, but it's not going to last. Well, I think we're going to see Paraganea back on the map in quite a big way as soon as these separatists move, if they will at all. So Chigoris making their way through exploration ideas. Now, it won't help them. Obviously, they can't now have colonialism spawn over there. But if Chigoris were to make a colonial nation in Alaska, for example, that would mean colonialism spawns in their capital. And it would spread the institution a lot quicker. Incidentally, let's have a quick look around. So the Renaissance is now present over here, thanks to all the knowledge sharing. It's absolutely skipped out everything over here, skipped into the deepest reaches of Siberia. Hasn't reached down to Jabariland or even Slavis Bay yet. Spreading to the New World via Hispania. But broadly, everyone has Renaissance in Europe, and colonialism is just about following. Batnarkia going down. They're pretty much already dead. Just Sicily, the one fort in Messina. If you're Batnarkia at this point, surely you just suicide into Messina. It's a mountain fort, you'll do alright for yourselves. There's no point in not doing it. Anyway, whoa, Kildare. You can barely tell where the borders start. Heilig peasants, that's not going to help out anyone. Well, it'll help out Yarnum. Ust-Shilslik and Soroka. Soroka is another vassal of Tver. So you're looking at Tver, you're actually looking at all that. And they want to take everything else as well. So Tver, a massive threat. Who are their enemies? Kildare, Communist Luxembourg, and Chigoris. If I'm Communist Luxembourg and Chigoris, well, if I'm Chigoris, I certainly want a European ally. I want a better one than Solikamsk. I want Communist Luxembourg on my side. Did Varmsund finish their wars? Varmsund are at peace. They have lost Osul to Curonia, but you notice they still have Shaland. Varmsund desperately sucking up to Tver, though not anymore. Where's their navy? Their navy's up here. I'd really prefer if the navy wasn't up there, if I'm honest. Their navy just needs to sit in Shaland. That's all it needs to do. They're now sucking up to Garovdesh. Well, they need to suck up to somebody, for God's sake. This is still a very even war. Kildare fighting back. Heilig Malches, though, out the war. So it's gotten a whole lot more even. It's just Lagofia and Tver in a 2-on-2 war now. Yarnum free to place their armies wherever they want. Is that an army going to be trapped in Yarnum? That Lagofia army might be trapped in Yarnum. Is there anyone we haven't seen much of this session? As we enter the last half hour here. What are Achaemenia up to? They don't have any truces, so they haven't been at war within the past 5 years. Allied with Chigoris, Nicholsonian, and Punjabi prison, they've kind of got all their angles of approach covered. I'd like to see them take on Basra if they can. Basra, part of the attack on Kostani, and Kostani losing. Kostani, no allies. Do we think Teshuvah and... I think Teshuvah might have cancelled their alliance on them when they got attacked. Which leaves Kostani alone. No allies. Up against Aydin, Sharazor and Basra. Which don't sound like big names, but if we take them together... they're going to beat up on Kostani. Now, the one saving grace that Castagni might have in this war is that they might be able to hold the Sea of Marmara and stop any crossings. I don't know what Aydin's navy's like. Oh, there's Castagni. There's their main navy. That's the one that should be doing. That's the one that should be blockading the strait. So we see the tributaries stretching from Milan in the north to Cosenza in the south, all but Calabria and Sicily within their grasp. And again, because they're animists, nobody cares. If you did this in a normal game of EU4, like literally the entirety of Europe would be in a coalition against you. As a Catholic taking on fellow Catholics. Who wouldn't be too happy. But Tribute, he said, nah, not fussed. Rolls right through him. Massive amount of Teshuvan separatists, and more to the point, Teshuva getting taken down by Nicosonia. Nicosonia blasting in from Alexandria through Cyrenica. Nicosonia, a healthy list of enemies as well. This is just a one-on-one war, but how fair is that really after Teshuva being beaten down to such an extent? Look at the devastation here. Look at the devastation on Lagofia as well, actually. Not looking good for Teshuva. They were allied with Castagni and with Artolia. Artolia have moved on. Heilig Malches, the delegation, Groningen. Not a space for Teshuva. So that is peace over here, and I'm not sure Lagofia got much of anything. In fact, I think they got nothing. A whole load of nothing. Did Heilig Malches lose another province? Yeah, Heilig Malches, when they got knocked out of the war, they lost Tarnov to Kildare. So Kildare, they got beaten up quite substantially there. Look at all this. And yet they profited from that defensive war. Pretty impressive. Meanwhile, Australia Major, allied to Mahasada, allied to Bunton. All you need to do, just come down, kill Malaya. Malaya is just Lemuris and Jambi, Kuching. What does that mean in reality? Just like half the Malian Peninsula. Yeah, the Malian Archipelago. But here's the thing. This is such a good choke point. And it's jungle all around here. Build one fort in Marit. And let them come. Let them come, let them exhaust themselves, and then just stroll in once they're out of manpower. Celestial Pretenders. They've got a decent chance of winning this. Pretender rebels tend to be quite fearsome. We see those separatists as well have given Chikuzen and Higo back to Paragadea. The Weyolumbia. Weyabalumbia. It would work far better as Weyolumbia, but Weyabalumbia, I think, still kind of the dominant force on the island, or on the islands of mainland Japan, as it were. Hispania. Branching out quite quickly. I expected just to see a couple more provinces, but no, they're really going for it. Varmsund sucking up to them. I mean, as they would. Have Varmsund... It's unlikely that they found an ally. Let's have a quick look. Right, Hansareich are back, trying to go for Finn. The navy is slammed back in place. That door is shut. However, Garavdesh are looking for Corsica. Of course they are. Corsica, perhaps the Balear is up next as well. So Varmsund getting pushed further and further back. And here's the danger for Varmsund, of course. As most of you will have probably... Oh! No! What? Hold on. Varmsund didn't get a white peace in their war against Communist Luxembourg. They won the war. They won the war against Communist Luxembourg and took back the Åland Isles. Let's remind ourselves. Communist Luxembourg. Wormsund. But anyway, my point is that let's have a quick look at the development map mode for Wormsund. You can see that their best province is Zeeland, and these are quite good provinces as well around here. But this is some good development they've lost, especially Sicily. There we go, look at Sicily. And that, you need money and you need force limit to maintain your navy. So the more land that Wormsund loses, you know, the less of a navy they'll actually have. So if they lose Corsica, if they lose Sardinia, they're potentially losing more and more of their navy. Imagine literally losing a war to Wormsund in this, the 16th century. Duke Gunther von Kamichi doesn't have to imagine. Have they actually here's the thing, part of why they would have found it so easily to get the Åland Isles in that piece is because it's a Wormsund core. As I assume it'll tell us here. Yep. A core province. Hansereich don't have any core provinces to give up. And they don't have any weird islands they could give up. So I don't really know what Wormsund could actually take from Hansereich, but they will win this war. Maybe they'll get concessions, maybe they'll get a white peace. Hello! Hello, hello, hello! So the delegation have declared war on Luxembourg. That has brought in Epiphany and Rhine-Neckar. And on the other side, you have the delegation Yarnum and Anatolia. That's a really interesting one. Let's have a look at this. So that is... Oof. So the delegation have kicked it off. They've declared war on Luxembourg particularly. Not communist Luxembourg, on real Luxembourg. So all they need to do is take this, but first of all, I imagine they'd quite like to knock out Epiphany. It looks like they've suffered some defeats there. They're rebuilding an army. You've got the Central German Archbishoprics. Bishopric, a real word. Not just one I made up for the cinematic intro video, so I could say prick in a video. So this is, you kind of got the central block here. The central block. Artillery in the middle, Yarnum in the delegation. Who'd you go for first? Who'd you concentrate on? Honestly, you concentrate on taking down that level 3 fort in Luxembourg while you've still got all your troops, because that's your war goal. That's what gets you war score, and if it all goes wrong, you just white peace out on Luxembourg, and that's fine. It looks like the aggressors are losing, and losing quite heavily though. What's that battle going on over there? In any case, it looks like the delegation winning that naval battle despite being outnumbered. Meanwhile, Gorovdesh, Epiphany's erstwhile ally, are just going to sit back and watch them get potentially beaten down. Oh, this isn't looking good though. I'm not quite sure which side's which and what's going on. But whatever the case, you just need to get all your guys together and just smash them in one big ball into the other army. Preferably while they're attacking a defendable fort. Who is it actually in this war with Wormsund? And there's another war. Teshuven hold on. Wormsund were also reacquired the port of Djerba when Teshuva were forced to give it up. Perhaps by Nicosonia, who've just taken a little stretch of desert. This isn't going to be annoying at all with Nicosonia going out into the desert and Aphed's taking Crete. No, that's not annoying at all on the maps. You can see the same effect over here as well, with Costagny able to cross this strait and Aydin not able to. Their armies are getting utterly smashed. And they will lose this war, but they're not going to lose their capital. And indeed, they're sieging some of that back through this river crossing. But Varmsund continue this pattern of constant war. Epiphany battering their way in. They don't want actually that much of the delegation, do they? But I swear, it's pretty much just looked like Epiphany on the wane, getting beaten out of the British Isles, not even able to take out Brittany, Garavdesh overtaking them, and it looks like they may have been handed a way back into the game by the delegation on a silver platter. The delegation without many military ideas, they've got morale and that's it. That's literally it. Whereas Epiphany, on the other hand, they took offensive ideas. They have morale, they've got infantry combat, they've got a far bigger army now. Epiphany just getting started. So remind me, how's this war actually looking? So Rhein-Neckar and Epiphany on the same side. Now that Barowar's fallen, especially because it's a fort, Epiphany, yeah, and we can see Epiphany troops. I was about to say they now have a lifeline into Rhein-Neckar to help them defend. And here is Epiphany beating back Yarnum in Oberpfalz. Although Yarnum getting a huge... Oh, there we go. There is Artolia, there's Yarnum, there's the delegation. They all came together, they sent Epiphany packing. And able to transition into the next fight. Although Epiphany... Oh no, they got sent packing again. So that's what I was saying. They brought together all their armies, forced them back. While we're here, is just... Oh, hello. That's the Tally-Ho back in business. Looking to take over all this land they lost. They're now allied. Their only allies, Gyan Lane. That's not what I like to see. Gyan Lane, allied with the Tally-Ho, Kaminot, Shambhala, Monorohan. Can't wait for the Tally-Ho to get all this land back and give it all up again. Nade Shah, allied with the Punjabi prison Mahasada. Are they not rivals? That's a dangerous alliance made by Nade Shah. Shambhala, Kaminot, Yan Lane, Kosh. It's all a bit weird and interconnected around here. Australia major, only Mahasada. So what's this? Weabalumbia are coming back. Or maybe they never really truly left us. The Peyote Khanate, still here, still alive, still kicking, because they only took... Because the Celestial Entente only took tributes. Not the tribute, but figurative tributes. Yeah, I might make an India treaty web. I would much rather someone else did it, though. Of course, they're not going to have access to all the things I have access to. If someone was willing to make a treaty web, I would give them the save game. As it is, I might make one myself. Oh, here we go. Interesting. So, Curonia. This is Curonia. The pinky purple one over here. They have declared... No, they have been declared upon by Osterode, which is the yellow one here. They want Memel, they want Königsberg. And so that is Osterode against the Yarnum, Stolp and Curonia. And on the other side, you've got Heilig Malches. So you've got Heilig Malches against Yarnum again. But that is Yarnum now in 2 wars. So the delegation... minus 44%? How is that? It's because the war score, again, is from battles. And they've lost a whole lot of battles. On occupations, they would still be losing. But they're losing battles. Though that said, Paris has fallen. Oh, they are making sudden inroads into Epiphany. This is what they needed to do from the start. They need to knock out Epiphany as soon as possible. Epiphany losing individually in this war because they don't get the war score from battles. It's only the war leader that gets war score from battles, and that's Luxembourg. Epiphany can still be knocked out of this war. That's a huge combined army in Picardy. Meanwhile, once this truce elapses with the new Nero Empire, the tolerant left should smash them because Epiphany aren't in any position to come defend them. It's interesting that we've got such a massive negative war score. But Epiphany, these guys are finally doing what they're supposed to. They're trying to knock out the big... They're trying to knock out the big dog. They're trying to knock out Epiphany. And a couple more forts. They're simultaneously sieging down 3 forts here. Meanwhile, Groningen are doing a useless job on Barwar. That's not enough. Back to India then. The Tally-Ho have a whole lot of stuff, but here we go. Nadir Shah are at war. They're defending against Shambhala. That's Shambhala, Cork, and Kamenot. But that's a pretty even war. It looks like on paper. Oof. I think Shambhala have done it again. I think they've done it again. I think they've messed up again. Shambhala, this might be their second war. And they might have messed it up. Although if Shambhala take out Mahsadar first, as well they should. Oh no, wait, it's Chagorison. No. That's a dangerous war. Have they not called in Gyan Lane? I mean, I can understand why you wouldn't call in Gyan Lane. Oh no, it's because Gyan Lane have declared their own war and they wouldn't accept an invitation. Panditrao, Narayanapala Pinya, 69-year-old Pius. Oh no, he's just died right in front of our face and we have Noah Irwin in instead. But that's what I was looking at. This guy is also malevolent. So they would betray their allies without second thoughts. They would disclose their attack plans ahead of time. The last guy was malevolent as well. Not a great deal. Farmsund hanging on in there. Epiphany. They should be knocking out Epiphany as soon as they can. Epiphany sieging back Chartres. And indeed, right Neckar back to help as well. Heilig Malches, I think they might have... This war might have gone perfectly for them. If Heilig Malches can get their cores back at the very least... Oh, they may not even get their cores back because that's a whole lot of cores. But they could get a decent amount of their cores back from Yharnam. Yharnam have played so well this session. Have kind of stumbled into potentially 2 losing wars at once. Communist Luxembourg. Oh, what is this? This is 4 wars. Teshuva, Communist Luxembourg. Garavdesh, Hansareich. Now, this is a war that Varmsund will lose against Communist Luxembourg because it's the reconquest of the Åland Isles. But they should only lose the Åland Isles. Teshuva. No one controls Jerba. That's because Garavdesh control Java. Okay, fine. So Hispania are still going for Kira down here. And indeed, they're somehow managing to lose. Because here's the thing. Here's Kira's army, right? And that is supported by all the development they have over here. So Nadir Shah choosing to focus on Kamenot. So Kamenot, this is a dangerous war for them because of the cores here that make it far cheaper for Nadir Shah to take them back. That'll be what Nadir Shah are after, especially Golconda. Even if they just take Golconda, that really neatens up the borders. What I think we're going to do here, I think I'm going to try and go as far as 1520. And that's where we'll wrap it up. A big battle we've just come in on the end of there. Rhine Neckar sending a load of guys packing. The sieges in Epiphany all but done with. Chartres is the only one left, and that is about to fall. 21% could fall at the next siege phase. Probably won't, though. How is Heilig in this? Heilig are allied to Osterode. And it's Osterode who declared war on Curonia. And Curonia are allied to Yharnam. It's a completely separate war. That's the war in the east. And that's how Yharnam have ended up really stretched here. How are the tributaries getting on? That truce has ages still to run. Oh, Costani, oh dear. So they did lose much of their Anatolian strip to Aydin. Aydin looking pretty good for themselves now. Basra, Al-Wahat, Shahrazor, and Costandi, I imagine. No such good allies. This is the prime opportunity for King Apollonios Bronco, or indeed for Duke... Oh, what on earth? Domoto Mita. They should be smashing right in to Costani right now. Even Kildare. Even Kildare should. Ligofia should. They're not going to get a better time to take the city of the world's desire. Yeah, I think Yharnam in 2 losing wars here. Tver really have established themselves. I think Hansereich have given up. At peace there. Only the 2 wars now. So that is Swoof. Corsica and the top half of Sardinia now belong to Gorovdesh. The Baleares and Cagliari. So why is that called Cagliari? But that's the province Cagliari. Have Chigoras gone into Alaska yet? That's a good question. I have my doubts. I think... Hello? That's not the green I was expecting to see in Taiwan. That is Australia. Hello! Rev goes to bed and he finally does something. He's reached his colonist in his base ideas. He's taken over Malaya. He's colonizing Taiwan. All kicking off. So Shambhala, still just about winning this war. But they don't have their war goal province. Well, they're working on it just now. To be fair, Shambhala, of all the countries in India and Indochina, they have the largest army because they start off... Well, first of all, they've gone into quantity ideas as well. But you can also see Shambhalan traditions, land force limit modifier plus 22.5. They have the largest army of anyone around here. They might have the largest army in the world still, even after losing these provinces to Mahasada. Oh, I doubt it by now. Hispania probably got it going. And Hispania have their full exploration expansion going as well. With global settler increase, they've got discipline as well. Streaking ahead under King Gomez Revanche. Yharnam in a lot of trouble. This war rages on. The delegation very much losing. So it's not just the -40 from battles. Because the war score goal was battles. And they have won nowhere near enough of it. That's going to tick to -25 as well. What they need to do is try and take Luxembourg. And just make them give up. Oh, that's a big old conglomeration of armies there. Shaylin somehow still holding on to Jarba. They might get a white peace out of this. I don't think Teshuva have enough troops to siege down Jarba, you know. I think that's why it's not happening. So at the end of this year is when I'll call it. That's Luxembourg. Oh, for goodness sake. It's one thing to lose a war. It's another thing to lose a war you started. It's a third thing entirely to lose a war you started against one province, Luxembourg, and give up land to them. So that is only the 2 provinces they've lost, I think. But that is a good defensive province to Barrois. And it doesn't matter how good the province is, you lost it to Luxembourg. Rhein-Neckar, of course, got nothing, but they didn't really take anything that could have been given to them. So that kind of leaves Yarnum in this interesting AI-led war over here. But as for that war, as possibly our last action sees the Yarnum army getting beaten down, make your I know I'm entering December. I only saw that on like the 21st of December. So on this, the 1st of January 1520, we're going to call a halt to proceedings just now. And there we have it. 1520, the world's moving on. Another, how many were eliminated this session? I can't remember, I'll have a look for it. So if you've got any questions or anything you'd like to look at in the ledger just now, now's your time. Hispania running with it. Chigoris, good to see up there. Jabariland's really struggling. Garden Lane sneaking in at 8th. Tver, a massive danger. Tribute is probably still in first place, so we'll look at score in a sec as well. And what I'll do is I'll jump into a few countries to show you the colonial view. So, Tributiers, Republican tradition is 96. I don't think they take a penalty from more than 20 provinces. Are they still a merchant republic? They still are. Yeah, if you want to see your ideas as well, now's the time to ask. New Near Empire took economic and offensive. Let's quickly jump into Chigoris. So this is what Chigoris can see. If we look into colonial view for Chigoris, they could indeed start colonizing Alaska. I don't know why they're not. They have 2 free colonists. I could send them right now if I wanted to. We'll bring this down as well. So Australia Major, they're massively building an army. Have they just lost theirs down there? Not really. They're just hacking their way through Malaya. They're losing their innovativeness for being behind on tech. Probably because of the massive institution penalty. Varmsund ideas. Who's to say they have 2? They've got religious and they've got quantity. I don't know what I'd do in Varmsund's situation. See if they manage to get, through quantity ideas, and get some semblance of land back. I think they've got human wave as their chosen idea. So they would have a massive army. But I think right now they've just lost so much of their actual development that they can't support enough of a huge army. That galley combat ability, though, really coming through for them. They've lost so many... Well, they haven't really lost that. They haven't lost that many wars. But they still got 28 prestige, which is impressive. Tribute is trade and administrative, because we went into it earlier. Yep, all the way through them. Got that mercenary cost, got that development cost. That ship trade power. Ligofia's ideas. What we'll do, we'll jump into Ligofia. Did Ligofia always have this? Did they always have Saratov? Because they always had... No. So, they always had the Pontic Steppe. So this is a new acquisition for Ligofia. Who had this before? Kazimov. So they've obliterated Kazimov. Yeah, that's what Kazimov used to be, and now it's Ligofia. But we're going to jump into Ligofia to have a quick look at this. Look at this militarization. Currently 99.42%. You can see what that gives you. It gives you massive increases to a lot of things which are very useful for war. And they got... Are they changing their culture to Gothic? Anyway, that's administrative and offensive. Oh yeah, but they get militarization of state as a default. So they still lose militarization, but that's actually really good. 99.42 militarization. Goodness gracious me. So I'm curious about a few things in the ledger, which I might as well show you guys as well. Developments I'd rather see than on the Great Powers list, because it shows you it's unaffected by institutions. You see the tributaries slowly falling behind, but hold on. Why? Why have you got... Have they already run out of buildings to build? Surely not. They've run out of buildings to build already. If I'm tribute and I want to build a building, I cannot build a single building. I have to wait until they unlock manufacturers and develop a few more provinces. But this is all pretty high development. Speaking of high development, the city of the world's desire is London, thanks to the tolerant left, followed by Venezia, followed by Kashin, Avaz, Troyevich, Lublin. None of the real usual suspects around here. London and Venezia, sure, but the rest, until you get down to maybe Seville, Milan. Milan, I don't think is really improved. Although, that's... Yeah, there's a few more in here because the tributaries can't see them. Nanjing, Nazarabad. Jerusalem is really up there. Interesting. And part of that is the new mission system. All of these countries will only have default missions. But this is the missions tree here. And you can see some of the completed missions here. And this will be a mission that will be available to any countries in this area. The middle three are available to everyone. And you might be able to see. Well, some of these missions give you development in your capital, which is why I imagine Jerusalem, or Al-Quds, as it's known today. Has it been improved at all? Improved 18 times? Yeah, probably. Golden era as well. So, 1520, and next up is the printing press. Spawned in 1550. Hispania, current controller of the papacy. Catholics all over the world are encouraged to attack Camelot in the name of our Lord. What if... Surely not. How do they even know that Camelot exists? To be fair, they've explored right round to the Cape of Good Hope, and they can now colonise it at their will. Although they're really making a meal of this. They've not even sent out any of their colonists yet. Because they're all just getting beaten down by Kira. Tribute's like 2 minutes behind. So anyway, as the questions are dried up, I'm gonna assume that there's no more of them. So what I'm gonna do is say thank you very much for watching. My intention is that next week it'll be back to starting at 9 PM and finishing at 11 PM UK time, which is an hour later than we've gone today. But we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys up to date during the week. And then... Oh, that name's so ugly. They need to kill Valencia. So, as always, one last thing is I'll remind you, if you want to play EU4 at all, we're looking to get that multiplayer game going. Ask about it in Discord. And that is it for me. Gonna leave this on a lovely scroll to a bit of music I like a little bit better. And I'll let this fade out. And I'll see you guys next time.